Hey everybody, it's Joy. Welcome back to another Whimsy Stamps video. Today I've got a technique heavy card to share with you using the Holiday Snowglobe. I love this. I think you're going to have a lot of fun watching this, and I hope that you will give it a try. So like I said, I use the Holiday Snowglobe stamp and die set, the Santa's Magic stamp, the Believe die set, the It's Snowing stencil, and later on I bring in the Slimline sweater embossing folder. So as usual, I start out by stamping all of my images. Using a Misti stamping positioning tool, you could use whatever tool that you have. I stamped down the Holiday Snowglobe using Eclipse black ink because this is Copic friendly. Then I just kind of placed my Santa's Magic stamp set in the center just to see how it was going to fit. So I start out by coloring the Snowglobe base using a combination of E59, 57, 55, and a 53. On some of the layers, I start with a 57 and progress down just so that we get a gradient of colors. That way we're not getting the exact same tone throughout. Now for the oval portion of the stand, which would be the top, I make sure to give a really nice dark outline, and then I bring in the center to be the lightest. That way we get the illusion that it's round. Later on you're going to see that this probably didn't matter because I chose to overlap my snow globe differently. So here I am mapping out where I am putting Santa and Rudolph, and I am taking the hillside portion of the It's Snowing stencil, and I am using a blending brush and applying Speckled Egg Distress Ink. Now you could use whatever color you like for snow. I think Speckled Egg is nice because it either pulls green or it pulls blue depending on what else you're putting in the card. Here I didn't specify a blue or a green. It just happens to be the color that I like for snow. Another one that I like is Tumbled Glass, but again, that's neither here nor there. I do move this stencil around about 3 times so I get 3 different shapes of the hills going through. And then right over that stenciling, I stamp in Rudolph and Santa. I color Rudolph with the colors E39, 37, 35, and 33. And for his muzzle, I use an E00 and an E11. Now what I do when I color Rudolph is any place that would be in shadow, I place the E39. So along the tail and the bum underneath, and then where the legs kind of come together, and even that back leg that's completely in shadow, I leave in that E39. And I do that. That way we get the illusion that we've got a 3D character. From there, I bring in my E37, and I then extend my shadows. Now I am only using, sometimes I'm using a 4-color blend, but for the most part a 3-color blend. So my E37 is my main color of my image. So you're going to see I use the majority of the E37, and then for my lightest color I bring in the E35 just to add some highlights around that. Now where the little speckled areas of the deer's back was, I did leave a little bit of a shadow around them just to give the illusion that we've got some movement along his back. You know, you can color this however you want, but that's just kind of where I went with it. I think this turned out really cute. Now I didn't leave all of the coloring in for every single image just because we've got so much that we've got going on with the card, but I wanted to give you kind of an idea where we were going. For his hoofs, I used a C7, a C5, and a C3. And I'm just letting you know that so that you can, if you want to recreate this card, you can use the same colors. I'm also using those same combinations for Santa's mittens, boots, and belt. And that's just to give a nice black contrast to everything else. Now for his suit, my favorite red combination is an R59, R29, 4-6, and a 2-4. 2-4 would be the highlight, 4-6 then would be my main color. Once the images were complete, I then used that same It's Snowing stencil, and using the speckled egg, I stenciled in the snowflakes using a detailed brush. Now I'm coming in with a BG10, and I extended the snow lines or the hillsides just to make them more prominent, because I had to do a very light stenciling with that because I was stamping over it. Also, since we have glass, I need to give some sort of an illusion of a boundary and some bounce back. So with that same BG10, I am putting in some layers just in 3 different areas along the circular part of the globe. Now, because no snow globe would be complete without snow falling, I am coming in with Tim Holtz Snowfall Grit Paste, and I am applying that with a tonic spatula just right over it. Now see, snow would fall not only in the background but in front of an object, so I did make sure to put some of that snow on top of Rudolph and Santa. I laid that aside to dry, and then I continued on with my project. I like a lot of texture and dimension in my cards, so another technique I'm bringing in is I'm using this Slimline sweater embossing folder. I ran that through my platinum machine, and now I'm taking the same speckled egg ink and I'm going direct to paper, and I am rubbing that over the embossed area. So every place that is raised from the embossing folder now becomes darker with the ink. It looks like a hot mess, but you need to remember that dye inks tend to dry back, and they dry back smooth. I cut this down to be about 3.5 by 5. And then I mounted that on a piece of gold mirror cardstock measuring 3 3/4 by 5, leaving just a border around the edges. And then I mounted that onto an A2 card base. Now I am gluing down the snow globe base. And for once, I decided not to pop this up. I am gluing this down flat. And that's where I'm showing you that, I talked about how to do that oval, the wood part of the base. You really didn't have to, because I chose to have my snow globe overlap that. Using that same mirror cardstock, I die cut that Believe, and using a reverse tweezers, I am just gluing that down. I lost I think, is it called a tilde? Whatever it is, the dot of the I. So I used a gold gem. And then this is confetti, I used the glazed sequins to finish this off. So if you like this, please give us a thumb up, consider subscribing, and thank you so much for sticking it out with me. I love hanging out with you. And until next time, keep crafting. Have a great holiday season. Bye-bye.